Alright, I guess it's time to address the elephant not in the room. Greenhouse that was here is no longer here, as you can tell if you've been following along for a while, or if you've been watching enough of my videos over the last couple of years and you've seen either the greenhouse gardening videos or seen the greenhouse in the background from the cabin. So first of all, I want to explain or make it clear that it wasn't a failure of the greenhouse that caused me to get rid of it. It's an amazing system. I was really happy with it. The company's amazing. The guys behind it are amazing guys. Very helpful, very generous in providing the time. First of all, Ben, for helping set this thing up was just amazing. We were so appreciative of his generosity, and we were very happy with the greenhouse itself, how it fit in here and how it functioned and everything. But here's the problem. So I'm not good at maintaining things because I'm just so, first of all, busy. And I'm busy because I'm so curious and restless, so I want to do so many different things. And because of that, I don't have the focus to stay on one project or stay on one hobby or one pastime. So I end up jumping around from thing to thing. So I love gardening, mainly because I love nature. I love to get my hands dirty. I like to see things grow, especially here in Canada. Like, there's 3 feet of snow in this clearing a month or two ago, and then just to see that melt and then things emerge, and then the size of those things by the end of the season. I'm just fascinated by that process. But I'm also fascinated with wilderness living, and the wild animals that are here and the wild plants. So to culture something like a garden is a little bit of a departure from my true nature, I would say. But nevertheless, I do love it. I like growing things. I like eating, and therefore I like growing things to eat. But what I don't like is things that take a lot of my time and that I can't walk away from and have them function without me. And as much as you could set up a greenhouse like this to be relatively hands-off, you can't be completely neglectful. And the way I had it set up, especially off-grid here without a great power source yet, and a heat source, it just wasn't feasible. So basically what was happening is so last summer, for example, things were going crazy in here, growing like mad. I showed you the peppers in this bed that's only 12 inches off the ground. The peppers were up here, like 5 feet high, and produced a lot of peppers. But what happened is that my wife and I went away for a couple of weeks. Is that 2 years ago? Anyway, we went away maybe for a week, and I didn't have the irrigation pump running because I didn't have the whole solar set up properly for it. So what happened is that the temperature got so hot in here that the soil dried out. It's not getting enough water or any water, and the plants basically died back, and I got some peppers but nowhere near what I should have got. The other thing is that I had pests in here. So I think was it aphids that got all of the peppers? I think so. So aphids ended up knocking back the growth on the plants and basically stagnating them. I don't even think a lot of the peppers ended up maturing, ripening. So the problem, that's 2 problems. The other thing was the tomatoes. They like heat, but they don't like too much heat. So what happens when it gets too hot for them, the flowers don't get pollinated. It's like you can hand pollinate them and shake them, and I was doing all of that, but they just don't set because of the heat. It's just too hot for them. So they did great, like they put on a lot of foliar growth, a lot of leaf growth, but the flowers, like I said, didn't set, so I barely got any tomatoes off it. I got far more tomatoes from the outside garden. So my biggest failures then were not heating the greenhouse on the really cold nights in the winter, not keeping the tank from freezing, and which acts as basically a heat battery. It absorbs the sunlight during the day and then stays a few degrees above freezing, and then keeps the greenhouse above freezing. But I'd let it freeze because I didn't keep that wood stove going because the wood stove was too small, and I don't have power, so I couldn't have electric heat, and I obviously don't have propane heat or natural gas or anything out here. So I wasn't extending the season, which is what the greenhouse is really good for. Extending the season beyond the first and last frost dates. So not taking advantage of it that way. Not dealing with the pests in the summer, and not dealing with the excessive heat, which again, these things are all manageable problems for most people if you're focused on it and you're paying attention. Putting shade cloth up or painting lime on the outside in the heat of the summer. Lots of ways to make it, to control the temperature. Having the water set up so that that it's like an irrigation system, a drip line system, so that's pumping water on a schedule, which I tried the first year, but then I didn't get enough water from the stream into that, and my Sandpoint well that I was trying to drive in here didn't sink far enough. So just lots of failures. I just didn't do a good enough job. I just didn't do the greenhouse justice, and I didn't use it for what it could have been used for. I didn't maximize its potential. But like I said, great product, great company, and I'm appreciative, very thankful for the opportunity to try it out. But like I said, I'm more of a wilderness guy, and honestly, even this whole clearing, I'll have all my annual vegetables, but like the potatoes last year did amazing, but from neglect. It was we typically get enough rain here that you don't have to irrigate it, and I didn't have to irrigate, so they did well. And that's what I want to do. I just want to plant everything in the spring when I'm excited about gardening, and then come back in the late summer and fall and harvest it with some maintenance. I mean, I'm not completely neglectful, and I'm not foolish enough to think that you can grow food without having hands-on. But my intention with this clearing is to have a food forest. So around the north perimeter and the east perimeter, I'm planting fruit trees, and then even within the space in aisles or rows, I'll have other smaller fruit trees that I can keep dwarf size. Then I can grow things in between them, and then annual vegetables in the sunnier, clear spots, like sunniest spots, like where there's no shade, so not close to the forest. This thing I'm going to leave up because I'll grow tomatoes on it again this year, maybe beans right now. And these raised beds, I'll do something productive in them as well. They may or not succeed either though, because again, if I walk away for a couple of weeks, go fishing like I'm planning on doing later this month for 5 days with the boys, things don't get watered. You know, once all of the systems in, like once I'm done the cabin, building it, the master bedrooms on this end, the outdoor kitchen's done, and all the other systems and are in place, and the buildings are finished, I can spend more time setting things up, like the proper irrigation system that's going to run from rainwater collected off the roof into these totes, which I'll box in so they're protected from the water or from the sun. They'll be up at the cabin. There'll be enough gravity to feed down into a drip system, and even a small sprinkler system. So that'll irrigate this when I'm not here. So that's future. Present, I'm continuing to go hunting and fishing and doing other things, so I don't want maintenance. So the forest garden here will be mainly taking care of itself. It'll be fruit tree guild, so we'll have fruit trees all through here with berry bushes at the bases of them and bioaccumulators, plants that bring nutrients and minerals up from deep. I'll have nitrogen fixers. I'll have berry plants like strawberries as a ground cover. I'll have vines climbing up like grapes and hardy kiwi and schisandra and different grapes. What else? Berries will be scattered. I've got sea buckthorn, which is a nitrogen fixer, but also for the berries and the leaves. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, cranberries in the marsh. Apples, pears, peaches, plums, cherries, and then all the annual vegetables and the things that rhubarb perennials, sunchokes, Egyptian walking onions or nodding onions, herbs, medicinal herbs for like parasite control and things like that, stopping bleeding. Got comfrey for that, and comfrey is also acting as a nutrient bioaccumulator. What else? Mushrooms, everything. everything I can think of, everything that I can get to grow in the wild. So stuff that's out in my forest everywhere in the surrounding lands. Things that I plant out into those places, like hazelnuts I've got all around the perimeter as well. Also planted them all throughout the entire forest, all the clearings. I've added hazelnuts, which are native to here. So that's another, like a nut, that's a food obviously for oil and for, well, even like hazelnut milk or whatever. It's just liquid hazelnut. Acorns, and I'm starting chestnuts, butternuts, and a couple of other nuts. Anyway, I've got those different oaks I've planted all over the place, edges of the clearing here again and throughout the forest. So food, forest, farming the food, or farming the forest basically. Vegetation, so getting all my vegetables, nuts, fruits, and all that kind of stuff from the land as it produces and grows and produces on its own, and then what, like I said, what I find out throughout the forest, and then the wild game, of course, that I'm harvesting from the wild, like the turkey I shot this morning. I'll get another turkey, I'm sure. My wife will probably get a turkey because she's getting really good with the traditional bow and arrows as well. And Emily can get tags as well. She got her license this year. And then I've got, I'll be bear hunting. Just out scouting for bear actually earlier this morning. That's when I shot the turkey actually. Saw that while I was just out looking for a bear and wasn't even prepared for it. I had one arrow with a broadhead on it. So I was able to shoot that turkey from about 15 yards as it was walking away from me. So bear in the spring, turkey in the spring. And then I think I might have a moose tag this year with somebody. So I'll let you know more about that as fall approaches. That's September, or no, it's October here. Deer, ducks, and geese. We've got tons of ducks and geese. I'm putting up duck nesting boxes in all the marshes around here, putting in front of the cabin, although I doubt they'll use that one because it's too close to the cabin. They like more privacy. And ducks and geese, grouse, making brush piles everywhere for grouse. I'm clearing more trees and letting the sunlight hit the forest floor in a lot of places, which things are going to sprout up as a result of that, which is going to bring in more varying hares. So I'll end up with more rabbits and grouse and squirrels. What else? There's probably things I'm forgetting. Oh, I'm putting in an elk tag with Russell from Raspberry Rock. Now, we did get a tag 3 years ago, but there was no elk in the area that we were hunting when we were supposed to hunt that week, so ended up not even going out because we couldn't find anything with all the scouting. But maybe we'll get another elk tag this year as well. So I think I started off just telling you about why the greenhouse is gone. So thank you again, Ben. Appreciate it. Arctic Acres is the company. If you want to check them out, I'll put them in the link below. You're going to find what the greenhouse is about to be repurposed for very interesting as well, and I'll be sharing that in the next several weeks, or sometime this summer for sure. You'll get to see how it's being utilized, and it's got a bright future, so I'm looking forward to showing you that as well. But I'm back to just getting more rustic. Every time I add some more complexity, I just regret it, so I'm going backwards now. Taking these solar panels even out of here, and they're going to go on another thing as well that I'll share with you later. But this shed's even coming out of here. I'll build another small shed at the north end where there's where it's not shading the garden at all, just for garden tools, like a really small shed. But solar panels are going out, and I'm just going to put some smaller solar panels and a smaller system on the slope in front of the cabin where they're kind of hidden for the most part, but they're not taking up valuable garden space too. And it will be a smaller system for just running lights. I realized I'm not using that much power. I don't need a big power source, and the more I add, the more electricity I add, the more I just fall back into those habits, modern living things that I'm trying to get away from. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to reduce that system, and I'm sure it's going to be more than enough. And then this one will run some other stuff that I'll show you. Probably not even this year, but next year at least. I'll answer the question about how I feel. Not 100% yet, but I feel like I'm recovering. And I think the parasite cleanse I've been doing is working, and I'll be back to normal soon, I hope. But I still am going in for a blood test and that colonoscopy, so I'm going to continue just to rule out everything that could be more serious. But hopefully I'm moving on, getting my energy back, and being able to function fully and get some work done here, especially the outdoor kitchen. But that set me back so far this spring. Like, that was 7-8 weeks of not feeling well, low energy, so not really working very hard, just doing the basic chores like I mentioned, and not really building much. So as a result, I'm behind on everything. And then I've got this fishing trip with the boys in a couple of weeks for a week, which is going to set me back even further. So spring things have to get done. I'm just not going to get that outdoor kitchen built and screened in before bug season, obviously, which is like 2 weeks from now. So instead, I'm going to get the gardens planted, get them going, and Emily and Aaron and my wife will be helping out with that, and they can do more maintenance of that thing, those gardens. But for me, I have to get the new plants in, like the trees and stuff, and get everything planted, like the potatoes, and then I can kind of move on, get back to the outdoor kitchen. Anyway, how long-winded was that? I'm gonna get back to work. So thanks for watching, appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin and the garden next time. Take care.